together as Nigerians.
We are brothers and sisters. Nigeria first before your politics.
We're all engaged in trying to keep the country united.
For a nation to develop, conflicts must be minimized.
Peace and stability is extremely important for all.
My hope and prayer is that Nigerian of our dream will be achieved.
The Nation on Global TV, Star Times Channel 276. My name is Kemi Asheku, and it's indeed a pleasure to be here again to discuss how we can build our nation further. After all, we know that there is no Messiah coming to build Nigeria for Nigerians. If Nigeria must be great, Nigerians themselves must be willing to put in the very hard work. Today on Building the Nation, we will be looking at entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is one thing that helps to build not only the nation, it also helps to build the economy of that nation, and it also helps to groom younger entrepreneurs as they come of age, and this will eventually translate to a greater nation. We're committed to building the nation on Global TV, and that's why we're here today. When we take a quick break, when we take a break now, we will come back and you'll get to meet my guest, who used to be an employee but has become an entrepreneur par excellence in the agricultural value chain. We'll take a short break, and when we do come back, you get to meet him. Please, where's my producer?
We talk about the Civil War, but we seem to ignore the fact that it was the manipulation of ethno-religious sentiment that eventually boiled over into that tragedy.
I think this is a negative part of what we're experiencing.
No shooting anymore.
We must come together as Nigerians.
We are brothers and sisters. Nigeria first before your politics.
We're all engaged in trying to keep the country united.
For a nation to develop, conflicts must be minimized.
Peace and stability is extremely important for all.
My hope and prayer is that Nigerian of our dream will be achieved.
Welcome back. I did tell you that when we do come back, you will get a chance to meet my guest. My guest today is an entrepreneur par excellence. Even though you might call him a young entrepreneur, judging by the number of years he has been an entrepreneur. However, he used to be an employee. As a matter of fact, you can be sure that the figures will matter. My guest today used to be a banker, and right now he has plugged himself in the agricultural value chain that rice gives in Nigeria. When the gap for filling in the agricultural value chain in Nigeria, especially with rice, came on board, my guest decided to jump the ship. That he was no longer going to be an employee, but has decided to become an employer of labor. My guest today is John Desmond Adaji, a former banker, and now, what do I call you, a farmer? Or just an entrepreneur, and then we can look at the value chains together?
You can call me an entrepreneur, okay, a farmer, and an agro-business person.
Agro-business person. Good morning, John. It's good to have you in the studio today.
Thank you, Kemi.
Let's start with your entrepreneurial journey. You used to be in the circle of those who will knot their tie and every morning go into the banks, and decide how much is going where and all of that. But today you're an entrepreneur. Let's look at your journey into banking in the first place. Why did you become a banker, and why did you leave?
Oh, that's a good question. In Nigeria, a lot of us go into what we are not ready for sometimes.
Okay.
I didn't started banking just because I wanted to be a banker.
Okay.
Immediately after my service, I started my career with a telecom firm. Then later, I left that place. I joined an oil servicing company that was in the south. So I moved to Abuja. When I got to Abuja, one day I was just sleeping, and my friend called me that, look, there's this bank that is doing a aptitude test. Let's go and write. So when we got there, we get crashed. Well, when we got there, we wrote the test. Later, we got an invite for the interview. When we got to the interview, the question for banking employment is so simple, very simple, especially the marketing side section. What can you do? And I told them, this is what I can do. I believe in myself that selling should be, as you sell yourself, you should be able to sell other people's products. So the bank brought me in. The first 3 months in the bank was very challenging, especially immediately after their training school, especially the marketing unit. But then I noticed that the bank offered me something that I don't have. They have a good payment system. So it's not left for me to defend what I'm earning. So I started putting myself, beginning to get the bank recommendation, beginning to get promotions that I never dreamed of within 2 to 3 years, And along the line, the work became very, very interesting.
And you were there for 14 years for an interview that you, for an
exam
that you weren't even prepared for.
I was just thinking by 2010, I hope to have stayed in the bank maximum 2014. But
then you were there till
2022. I never believed that I could be that in that system. So
amazing. But then let's now take a look at you deciding that it was time to leave and the reason why you decided to go into the business that you went into. Why did you decide to leave at the time you left?
Now, before I left 2022, I already started planning to leave around 2015. Immediately after the change of government, I noticed that the Buhari administration was ready to promote local content. So I put a lot of options before me. I like public relations practice. I like journalism. Yes, because I once did journalism when I was far younger. Then I was looking at businesses that I can do with little money. There are many businesses. I like agency business, commission business. These are businesses you can do without putting your own money. You don't need capital to do this money. So one day, around 2016, I visited my friend. I used to go and play ball every Saturday. But there's this day I just visited my friend, and I saw my friend farming. He's on his way to farm. I said, okay, let me even go and see how farm looks like. So when we got to farm, I saw him. I said, okay, give me small portion of your land. Let me plant my own corn. So that year we plant corn. The harvest was bountiful, was much. So the next year we said, okay, let's plant rice. That was 2017. When we planted rice, the harvest was something unbelievable.
Wow.
When we harvested the rice, we processed it. We got to the best hand. We got to ADP then. We got somebody that processed it into a standard of Japanese rice. So when I gave to my friends, a lot of them started asking, are you selling the rice? I said, not yet. We are just test running it. The rice, the quality was matching to what we call foreign rice. I said, and this is done locally. Everything was done by us. So in 2018, we just had to get land. And then it's okay, well, we're going to start our own rice production. So when we farm, we started, getting the equipment was very hectic. We had to use what is on ground. There's a mill that was abandoned, that was built by the former president of Luminity. The community abandoned it. We have to go rehabilitate the mill, started milling from there. It's something challenging, but along the line, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Okay, thank you very much for that one. Let us take a look at what you said earlier when you were an employee. You said you realized that what the bank was giving you was huge and you needed to earn your pay. One of the challenges of most entrepreneurs are the employees that they do have. What has the challenges you have faced in being an entrepreneur been, with regards to employees?
In being an entrepreneur, you pay yourself. Nobody pays you. You can only make use of what you have. You can only spend from what comes in. So that is the major challenges. And then funding in entrepreneurship is very difficult. So I encourage everybody that wants to go into entrepreneurship to start with what they can fund minimally, what they can, you know, it's not all businesses that you need money to start actually.
Okay,
yes.
We're going to go into that, but I was asking with regards to employees, how has it been easy getting employees to work for you? What have their reactions been and all of that?
Oh, you know, most employee wants to make money. They want to be richer than the owner. You know, some of them are not sincere. But then, I have a strategy. Like the guy I started with, my manager, we met, and he's still one of the best. We have about, in fact, most of our staff, we have about 30 staff. Our head of procurement, the manager.
Were blamed for adding to tribal unrest, soaring crime rates in the cities, not to mention taking jobs Nigerians want now that the bottom has fallen out of the oil-fed economy.
Unfortunately, it wasn't enough just to kick out the foreigners.
Meredith Vieira has the story tonight of about 50 students from abroad who are learning